Have you ever wondered why, even when you're eating healthy, certain things just don't feel quite right anymore? Maybe you've been doing everything the doctors recommend, walking every day, watching your sugar, cutting back on fried food, but still, something feels off. Your energy isn't where it used to be. You feel less confident in private moments. And most importantly, it feels like your body just isn't cooperating the way it should. Now, let's talk honestly here, because that's what we do on this channel. As men get older, especially after 60, things like blood flow become incredibly important, especially in more personal areas of life. You know what I mean. And while we often hear about cholesterol, medications, and exercise, there's one thing we rarely talk about: the food on your plate. Specifically, certain fruits you probably thought were doing you good. Fruits are supposed to be healthy, right? And for the most part, they are. But not all fruits are created equal, especially when it comes to blood flow. Some can actually restrict circulation by causing inflammation, spiking blood sugar, or interfering with nitric oxide, the very thing your blood vessels rely on to stay open and flexible. And yes, that includes the blood vessels down there too. You might be surprised by which ones are secretly doing more harm than good. Let's start with one that almost everyone assumes is healthy: grapes. Now, don't get me wrong, grapes in moderation can be fine. But if you're snacking on them by the handful or drinking a glass of grape juice thinking it's good for your heart, you might want to reconsider. Grapes are packed with natural sugar, fructose. And when that sugar floods your bloodstream too quickly, it causes your insulin to spike, your blood sugar to crash, and your blood vessels to stiffen. That directly affects circulation, especially where it matters most. Imagine your blood vessels like tiny garden hoses. When they're relaxed and open, blood flows freely. But when sugar overloads the system, it's like squeezing the hose tight. Nothing gets through properly. And guess what suffers first? The areas farthest in the heart, like the feet, and yes, the penis. Blood flow slows, responsiveness drops, and confidence takes a hit. Now, let's think about bananas. Most people eat them believing they're doing their body a favor. After all, they're high in potassium, right? And potassium is good for the heart. That's true. But bananas are also high on the glycemic index, meaning they turn into sugar pretty quickly in your body. And if you're eating them ripe, those soft, sweet, almost mushy ones, that sugar hits your system even faster. What's worse, if you're already dealing with some insulin resistance or prediabetes, which many people over 60 are, then that banana might not be helping your circulation the way you hoped. In fact, too many high sugar fruits, even the ones that look healthy, can quietly tighten the blood vessels and reduce the nitric oxide your body needs to keep things flowing smoothly. And that's the key here. It's not just about what tastes good. It's about what supports your body in staying active, confident, and strong as you age. Because when your blood flows well, everything works better. Your heart, your brain, your muscles, your energy, and yes, your performance. Sometimes we have to unlearn what we thought was healthy. And that's okay. Getting older doesn't mean giving up. Far from it. It means getting smarter, paying attention to the little. Now that we talk about grapes and bananas, let's move on to another surprising fruit that many people over 60 include in their daily routine without giving it a second thought: oranges. Yes, I know, oranges are refreshing, filled with vitamin C, and often praised for boosting the immune system. And while that's true in some cases, when it comes to circulation, especially blood flow to more sensitive areas of the body, they can actually become a sneaky problem. Oranges, like grapes and bananas, are loaded with natural sugars. The juice, in particular, is where the issue really lies. Drinking a glass of orange juice may seem innocent, but here's the deal. When you juice an orange, you remove all the fiber and leave behind mostly liquid sugar. That causes your blood sugar to spike. And over time, repeated spikes can damage the lining of your blood vessels. Once that lining gets inflamed, your vessels become more narrow and stiff, which again restricts blood flow where you need it most. And it's not just about sugar, it's the way your body responds to it. With age, our ability to process sugar efficiently starts to decline. Your insulin doesn't work the way it used to. Your arteries aren't as elastic. That's why what you ate without a second thought in your 30s and 40s can have a much bigger impact now. And unfortunately, Fruits like oranges and their juices fall into that looks healthy but can quietly harm category if you're not careful. Now let's talk about one more fruit that often surprises people: watermelon. Yes, watermelon. You'd think it's just water and fiber with a little sweetness. And it is refreshing on a hot day, no doubt. But here's where things get tricky. Watermelon has a very high glycemic load. That means it hits your bloodstream fast. And when it does, it acts a lot like candy. It might give you a quick pick-me-up, but it doesn't do your circulation any favors in the long run. Some people argue that watermelon contains something called L-citrulline, which may help with blood flow. And that's true, in theory. But in order for that to make a meaningful difference, you need a much more concentrated dose than what's found in a slice or two of melon. The problem is, by the time you eat enough to possibly help, the sugar you're getting from it outweighs the benefit. It's a bit like trying to put out a fire with a garden hose while dumping gasoline at the same time. And if you're someone who already deals with lower energy levels, erectile issues, or struggles with blood pressure, then anything that restricts your circulation is going to make those problems worse. Even if it's coming from something natural like fruit, it's not about being extreme or cutting out everything. It's about being aware and adjusting wisely. Instead of focusing on which fruits you've got to completely eliminate, think about which ones support your body better at this stage in life. Go for berries, like blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries. They're lower in sugar, high in antioxidants, and actually help your blood vessels stay flexible and open. These small shifts matter. And remember, this isn't about guilt or restriction. It's about feeling your best, reclaiming your energy, and supporting the part of your body that's still very much alive and capable. You deserve to feel confident. You deserve to wake up with energy. And yes, you deserve to enjoy every part of your life without discomfort, frustration, or embarrassment holding you back. Now that we've gone through grapes, bananas, oranges, and even watermelon, you might be wondering, how can something so colorful, juicy, and natural end up being a problem? That's a valid question. And it all comes down to what your body needs now, not what it needed 30 or 40 years ago. As we age, our bodies become less forgiving. Circulation slows, hormone levels drop, and unfortunately, our blood vessels, especially the ones that support intimate function, start to stiffen or narrow. Think of it like a garden hose. When it's brand new, the water flows freely. But leave that hose out in the sun too long, and over time it gets dry, cracked, and the pressure drops. That's what happens when our diet doesn't match our stage of life. And the last fruit I want to talk about might surprise you even more: mangoes. Yes, mangoes. The beloved tropical fruit we often treat like dessert. Sweet, smooth, vibrant, and almost impossible to stop eating once you start. But for older adults, especially men trying to maintain healthy blood flow and function, mangoes can work against you in more ways than one. First, they're very high in fructose. That's a type of natural sugar that your liver has to process. And when you eat too much fructose, it turns into fat in the liver. That, over time, increases your risk for insulin resistance, which not only affects your energy and waistline, but also damages your vascular system, the network of veins and arteries that keep everything moving inside your body, including the ones that supply blood to your most sensitive areas. The second issue is that mangoes are often eaten in large quantities. One whole mango might have more sugar than a can of soda. And even though it's natural, your body doesn't always know the difference. A sugar spike is a sugar spike. Your insulin goes up, your blood vessels get stressed, and blood flow drops. Exactly what you don't want if you struggle with performance, stamina, or confidence in the bedroom. But here's something important to understand. It's not just about the fruit. It's about the pattern. A little mango once a week won't harm you. But if these high-sugar fruits are in your daily diet, especially combined with other processed carbs like white bread or sweet drinks, then your body circulation is under constant attack. And unfortunately, the veins around the penis are some of the first to show signs of poor blood flow. They're smaller, more sensitive, and they depend heavily on nitric oxide, a compound your body produces less of as you age. So when your arteries get stiff, when your sugar's always high, and when inflammation builds up, that's when men start noticing changes, not just in their blood pressure or energy, but in the most personal parts of their life. It can be frustrating, even embarrassing. But the good news is You can take back control. What you eat is the foundation. And even small changes, like swapping high-sugar fruits for lower-sugar options or cutting back just a little on daily fruit juices, can have a huge impact on your confidence and quality of life. Because let's be real, at this stage in life, we're not looking to impress anyone else. We're looking to feel alive again, to enjoy the small moments, to wake up feeling refreshed, and yes, to maintain the kind of health that gives you freedom, dignity, and connection. And food, especially fruit, can either support that mission or hold it back. The choice is yours. By now, you're probably looking at your fruit bowl a little differently, and that's a good thing. It's not about fear or restriction. It's about awareness, about realizing that the foods we once thought were always good for us might need a second look, especially as our bodies change with age. You see, what worked for you at 40 may not work the same way at 65 or 70. That's not a bad thing. It's just part of the journey. And understanding how certain fruits like grapes, bananas, oranges, watermelon, and mangoes affect your circulation and blood flow, particularly where it matters most, can help you make smarter choices that support your confidence, health, and independence. Let's take a moment to talk about why this really matters. Because for many seniors, the topic of blood flow to the penis isn't something openly discussed. It's brushed under the rug, treated as an inevitable part of aging or worse, hidden behind a quiet frustration. But the truth is, this isn't just about intimacy. It's about vascular health, about how well your heart pumps, how clear your arteries are, and how much oxygen is reaching your muscles, your brain, and yes, your most private areas. Erectile function is often one of the earliest warning signs of poor blood circulation. It's the canary in the coal mine. So if you're noticing changes, less firmness, slower response, or general lack of drive, it's not something to feel ashamed about. It's your body's way of saying, hey, something's off here. Let's fix it before it gets worse. And that's the powerful part. You can do something about it. You don't need pills or expensive treatments to get started. You need better food, better habits, and a bit of consistency. That's where the magic happens. Let's talk alternatives for a moment. Because cutting out these fruits doesn't mean living without sweetness. You can still enjoy fruit. It's all about choosing the right ones. Berries like blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries are low in sugar and packed with antioxidants that support blood vessel health. Apples, especially the green ones, have fiber and polyphenol that help reduce inflammation. And kiwi, that little green fruit, is a superstar for vitamin C and circulation without the heavy sugar hit. Another tip is to space out your fruit intake, instead of piling it all in one sitting. A small serving after a meal is much better than having fruit smoothies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Balance is key. And speaking of balance, pair your fruit with a handful of nuts or a boiled egg to slow down sugar absorption and keep your energy steady. Now, you might be wondering, is it too late for me to change? Absolutely not. In fact, this is the perfect time. Because you have something younger people don't. You have perspective. You've seen what happens when health is taken for granted. You've lived through the consequences of stress, poor habits, and busy lives. And now, you have the opportunity to turn things around, not for anyone else, but for yourself. Imagine waking up with more energy, moving through your day without that nagging tiredness or lack of drive, feeling more confident, not just in how you look, but in how you feel. That's what's waiting on the other side of small, mindful changes. So yes, that morning banana might need a break. That daily glass of orange juice might need to be cut in half. And maybe, just maybe, that fruit salad with mango and grapes becomes an occasional treat instead of a daily habit. But what you gain in return is far more valuable. A stronger heart, better blood flow, and a renewed sense of vitality. You deserve that. You've earned it. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a little encouragement. If you're watching this video right now, it means you're someone who cares. Someone who wants to feel better, live better, and maybe even love better. And that starts with knowledge, with curiosity, with small steps. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you noticed certain foods affecting your energy or performance? What changes have made a difference for you? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who's going through the same thing. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It lets us know you want more content like this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're here to support you every step of the way on this journey to better health after 60. Remember, aging isn't about slowing down. It's about getting smarter, getting stronger, and living with more purpose than ever before. Here's to living your best life, boldly, confidently, and on your own terms.